Well, it's interesting what you did invest in. You're up 547%.
Well, that's not too bad.
That's a better than Buffett. Instead of following Buffett's advice, we should have been following you. 547% over the last 10 years.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm not sure I want my wife to know. She'll want me to spend some of it.
People should know that you put your money where your mouth is. You've been talking down the fiat currency and the Federal Reserve, and because they were doing what they were doing, you invested in hard currency. You invested in gold and gold shares.
Right. You know, every once in a while, gold won't go anywhere and stocks will go up, and somebody was and a business station was making fun. They said, just think of all that you missed out by buying gold coins and holding them. And just look at what you missed out when the stock market was booming. But the stock market boomed for a while, then it went down. But I said the big difference is I decided that the dollar would be devalued drastically after they delinked from gold, which was in 1971 when I started those investments, and gold was $35 an ounce. Today it's a little bit higher.
Yeah, it's about $1,600 an ounce at the moment. It's been as high as 19. It's now flopping around a little bit before it goes back up some more.
Yeah,
because the president wants another trillion dollars. Is he likely to get it?
The way I understand this, he's going to get it. There's no resistance because all he has to do is make a request, and if Congress doesn't act on it, it is automatically given to him. They have to act and turn him down. So he's asked for it during a recess. So Congress isn't in session, they don't respond, he automatically, this is the way I understand it. I may do some double checking, but boy, that is something I believe it's going to be automatic. I think he's going to get it. And that was part of that deal of the grand compromise to have this super committee. It looks like a super sneak attack on the American people by automatically raising the debt limit in this manner.
So we have lots of folks who'd like to get in this conversation. I can tell you right now, as you well know, Ron Paul, your organization and the Paulistas, as I call them, they are legion and they are active. They are not casual observers of the political marketplace. They are activists. Sometimes you even have to calm them down.
Yes, I noticed.
But a lot of folks would like in on this conversation. You have now, because you're now high profile, you have detractors. As they used to ignore you and hope you'd go away. Now that you are running at the top of the pack, now they are digging into your history and they're wondering what did he say back in those old times, and they're digging around in the rubble of your history. We have lots of people like in on the conversation, and we're simulcasting with C-SPAN, and we'll continue here in a moment on 1040 WHO Radio. So what we do, Ron, is because we're could you?
David went and got it.
Okay, I've got some in my refrigerator back there. I'm sorry I didn't have
no
some.
Problem.
Because we're on C-SPAN, we'll just continue talking through the commercial breaks, if that's okay. We can also take listener calls from all over the country, all right? We don't want to waste anybody's time here today. Try not to get violent this time, and try to control your language, okay?
Okay, I'll do my best.
We're broadcasting live on C-SPAN, and thank you for your patience, everybody. The C-SPAN has been gracious to allow us to do this morning, and we have the ability to simulcast and break away from our normal stuff and to communicate with our audience and take calls during these breaks too, because I hate dead air and everybody else does too. This is Jaron from Wisconsin. Good morning, Jaron.
Good morning.
Hi. What would you like us to know? Dr. Paul is listening.
I love you.
Are you talking to me or Dr. Paul?
Everybody.
Wisconsin is a loving place, you know. What would you have a question for our guest?
No, just want to tell you I love you.
Well, thank you. Big hug from Wisconsin. Thanks a lot. This is Sam from L.A. Good morning, Sam.
Hi, how are you guys
Great.
This morning? All right, I wanted to ask Dr. Paul, a lot of Americans who are going for job interviews these days are often asked to answer this question, and it's a common interview question, and I would like to have you answer it. What is your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness? I think my greatest weakness is my ability to deliver a message smoothly. Although I am so convinced about the message of liberty, I think that I can always improve on my delivery. So that's what I work on. I would consider that a weakness, but I get by, in presenting the case. But I think it's the strength of the message and the strength of what the Constitution said and what America's all about and how freedom works. That is my strength, but I would say my weakness is that I could always do better.
It's interesting that you talk about that message and to whom it resonates. I was mentioning earlier to C-SPAN viewers that you're filling college campus auditoriums with the next generation.
Right.
Some of your most ardent supporters are college kids. Why do you think that is?
Haven't quite figured it out. I've asked that question to them many, many times. The answer is not always the same. But a lot of times it's, well, you like the Constitution. We like people to stand on principle. We like your issue on the money. It's surprising how many college kids now are interested in the monetary issue. And certainly the foreign policy attracts young people. They just don't see the benefits of having these endless wars. And when I offer the solution to it is, it's only go to war when we declare war, like the Constitution says. That strikes their fancy, too. But I think financially, they realize what terrible shape we're in. They know that, they could end up paying a lot of money into Social Security, and it's an insolvent program. And I offer a different solution to that and how we can take care of it and tide ourselves over and allow people to get out of it. And they're very attracted to free market economics. And I make a big point about personal liberties. I try to connect economic liberty and personal liberties. Most of the time people think personal liberties are separate from economic liberties. But to have your right to your life and your liberty and to keep the fruits of your labor is very attractive, especially to young people, but to a lot of other people as well, because they're seeing the failure of the dependency on government.
When Michelle Bachmann was here a few moments ago, she went through a litany. She said, you and she are on the same page when it comes to economics. She would consider herself an Austrian supporter, and von Mises and Hazlitt and all those guys. But you depart on foreign policy issues and some of the social issues. She went through, he's in favor of legalizing heroin, and you'd be a pro-abortion politician. I had a lady call me a couple of afternoons ago. Hang on, let's rejoin the audience here from our local audience in here in just a moment. Right back to conversation. Mickelson here with you as Congressman Ron Paul is here in the studio. We were going through some of the issues that Michelle Bachmann raised during the last segment, talking about drug legalization, and you would be, in effect, a pro-abortion president. I had a lady call me. In fact, this has happened a couple of times now. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to apologize for what I'm about to say, but these are perceptions that exist. Ron Paul, when you were a physician, you were an abortionist. That's actually what a lady told me yesterday. You were an abortionist. And I pointed out, just reading the first chapter in your Liberty Defined book, you're one of the most pro-life candidates and articulate pro-life candidates that I've come across. How do those perceptions come about?
Well, I'm not even sure they're true perceptions. Sometimes I think it's propaganda.
No, this lady was convinced it was true.
Yeah, well, she just doesn't know me.
Right.
And she should. I mean, not only the book that you're quoting, Liberty Defined, but I wrote a whole booklet on the abortion issue, and I've introduced a lot of legislation dealing with abortion. I have one bill that would have repealed Roe versus Wade just with a majority vote. Didn't have to wait for a constitutional amendment. Didn't have to wait to change the Supreme Court. And strictly remove the jurisdiction of the abortion issue from the federal government. And I don't get a lot of support for that. If that is the case, if Iowa had a pro-life state where you couldn't do abortions, it couldn't be appealed to the Supreme Court. And that's legal under the Constitution. And when we had the majority in the Congress, we had the House and the Senate and the President, they could have done it by majority vote. And this could have been done 10 years ago. Think how many millions and millions of abortions would have been prevented, but and that would have essentially repealed Roe versus Wade. It would totally neutralize.
Well, there's two levels to what Ron Paul just said. When talking about dealing with issues of judicial supremacy, 20 years ago, you were writing that there were fixes and cures for aberrant Supreme Court rulings that did not require a constitutional amendment. You're way ahead of the curve on that, and people are still not up with that. People are still saying that Roe versus Wade is the law of the land. It is not, is it?
No, because he can be reversed. It's not part of the Constitution. It was a ruling by the court for 5-4, I believe, and
courts don't make law.
No, they're not. And that the way they ruled on that should have never gone to the Supreme Court, but then they did. Then they wrote a lot of law into it. If you read it, it's a lot of medical management there. You can do this, and this, and it was a lot of mischief. No, it doesn't meet muster as far as the Constitution is concerned.
Given your strong pro-life philosophy, have you expressed a willingness or unwillingness to sign on to the personhood amendments?
Well, I did with qualifications. You know, I've signed it, but I more or less wrote a dissertation and wrote some of the exceptions about. I don't like to strengthen the Fourth Amendment. I don't want the 14th Amendment to repeal the Ninth and the 10th Amendment. It wasn't meant to do that. So I'm still much in favor. I support the definition of personhood, but I still think that we should repeal Roe v. Wade, and the states should deal with this just like they deal with all other acts of violence. I didn't want to make the difference.
Your critique is that it's an act of violence. From your personal point of view, I know you're a libertarian, but does the preborn have moral status? Does it have theological status? Should it have legal status?
Well, it does have legal.
Does it have intrinsic value before they're born?
It does. There shouldn't be any question about that, because if a woman becomes pregnant and the father dies, it still has inheritance rights. Occurs at the time of conception. If a woman comes to see me the first month or 2 or 3, or I'm taking care of her, and this I forget to ask her whether she's pregnant or not, and I give her a medication that is very detrimental, I can get sued. I sued for this. So yes, it's legal, and it's a legal entity, and they want to turn it around and say, and they'll throw it back to me as a libertarian. You know, I am very libertarian on personal behavior, and people should be responsible for their own behavior. And then they say, well, why would you get involved with the woman in her rights to abort a fetus? And the answer is that the fetus has a right to choice too. So there is. It's an unusual, different situation than exists anyplace else, is because there's 2 lives involved and it's interconnected. But you could almost make the parallel. We at one time thought our homes were sacred. Our homes were our castle. The government couldn't come in without a search warrant. You know, remember the old days. But our homes were our castle. But what if it was babies born in a home? And the government's not allowed in our home. We never granted saying, well, the baby's a minute old, it doesn't look so healthy, so why don't we just kill the baby? What's the difference between the value of that life 1 minute before and 1 minute after? So I say that life is precious, and it's truly a human being and deserves protection, but there are some complex issues and difficulties. And this is why I think the founders were right in making this a state issue. I
know why I didn't mean to totally get onto this particular issue and park it here, but one of the persons who said to you in your book where you were in 1960, in the 60s, when you were still an intern, you were still a resident. Right. There's a difference between intern and resident, but it says in your book you were a resident.
I was a resident that time, I believe.
And it says you were visiting a surgical suite as an OB/GYN resident. Abortion of a fetus that weighed approximately 2 pounds was placed in a bucket, crying and struggling to breathe. The medical personnel pretended not to notice, and soon the baby stopped crying. And so that moment helped define your worldview.
Yeah, it was profound, because that was shortly after I got out of medical school, but the subject of abortion never came up in medical school. It was in its late 50s. It was in the 60s where things changed, and actually that occurred probably in about 68. After 65. That's when I was a resident.
Well, the hypercritical nature of this has become, how can Ron Paul call himself pro-life if he did not rescue that 2-pound child from that bucket? He's not pro-life.
I would have had to have. I don't know. It probably was like a fleeting 2-minute thing. I walked in, take a peek, and saw what was happening, and then walked out because we visited different operating room. But I didn't have the facilities. What could I have done? It would have been.
That's how, I was pointing out. That's how vitriolic this is.
Yeah, and I think, but people who still have a misperception, all I do is ask people to be open-minded enough to read what I've said and written about over these many, many years.